everyone. This is the Mack Roberts back again with another tier list, except it's not a tier list. It's a live stream, but it's not a live stream, but it is a live stream. But I do have my guy Zach with me. We're going to be redrafting the 2011 NBA draft. Say what's up to the people, Zach.
It's good to see everybody. I've been on a couple of these streams before, but it's always a good time here with the man, the Mack Roberts. You're in great hands here. It's one of the brightest basketball minds of today, so I'm happy to be here. One of my favorite drafts, one of my favorite years in basketball, 2011.
Appreciate the push on that. 1 second, let me actually reframe the frame because the frame went out of frame when I decided to maximize it. What's going on, Drippy? How you doing today? Let's stretch that all the way out. Nope.
So I see here you have 14 picks for us. The first 14 of the draft. So that'd be the lottery.
We got the lottery out there. Of course. It's hilarious that me and Zach were just joking about this. I was like, yo, watch us get on the stream now, and the entire thing goes to crap. Let's see. Where we at? Where is my Photoshop? Actually, is that it right? That's supposed to be right there. This is hilarious. But yeah, 2011 is actually one of those drafts that it was surprisingly deep. We were actually talking about this a little bit earlier. Like, there are a lot of players still in the league to this day from this 2011 draft. And, we got guys like Jimmy Butler, of course, who were taken a little bit lower than expected, like in retrospect. Then you got guys like Kawhi Leonard, who was taken a little bit higher. He was taken lower, but now he would go a lot higher than if we were to do the redraft. But then again, there's also a lot of questions on, especially Kawhi Leonard, because of the type of player he was and the development that he had. Is he going to be that type of player if he goes to another team?
What's interesting is you'll see a lot of changes in regards to how, like, college conferences and, like, respect for European players still holds up. Like, you saw guys like Cantor and Valanciunas go really early, and you would still put them in the top half of the first round today, potentially, but they were coveted because of their good performance there. And you see guys like Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker, they gained that profile because they played in, big conferences. A guy like Kawhi, he could be as good as he could be, he'd still be viewed in the same way a guy like Jimmy Fredette was, which is, how good is he going to be amongst a different level of competition? It's that whole ESPN type of spin a narrative thing, You see a guy from something like San Diego State, it doesn't hold credence for whatever reason, and his conference was weak back then. Kawhi was one of the only good guys to come out of those schools, but it still holds to form that, Duke, Arizona, Texas. Those are the first 3 colleges that got picked in this draft.
Agreed. And it's funny about Derek Williams. Like, I still think about Derek Williams and be like, yo, what happened to your career? Like, I don't know. There's a weird curse going on with the number 2 picks from this year. And then you've also got it's a reverse flip curse with 2013, where Anthony Bennett was taken number 1 and Victor Oladipo was taken number 2. Then you also have like Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker, where like you would think that in retrospect Anthony Bennett would have been, nobody expected Anthony Bennett to be taken number 1. You probably would have taken him maybe like 7 or 8. He still would have been a bust, but a different type of bust. And then you've got guys like I said, with Jabari Parker, who isn't, I don't consider him a bust per se, primarily because of his injury issues.
Yeah, it's a different type of performance. Calling it a bust isn't right. but it's definitely somebody who we missed out on.
Right.
And you could say that about a lot of guys. You could even say that about guys who had shorter careers than people expected because of a slew of injuries. Like that's how LaMarcus Aldridge will always get called up. It's not like a bust or somebody who's like not legit. It's there's another thing. There's another layer
Right.
to that.
But with LaMarcus Aldridge, it's more so. I feel like he had that career. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, sorry, Drippy. I just wanted to get the spiel out. Also, what's going on, Chris? That's the chat. That's the chat leaderboard. So that's why you can kind of see your name a little bit. Let me actually tweak the color shades on that. We're trying something new. We wanted to try something new on the stream. And that's what the result of that is.
Got to see enough your whole little deck here. I like that.
Yeah, you gotta diversify your bonds. Word to Wu-Tang.
We got a whole lot of prime real estate here on the cast screen. We gotta maximize it.
Let me see.
Think about the teams that also have these picks.
Yeah, that's something I'm taking into account. Also, is not only like what is the team, but like what team is drafting, how deep are they, what's the team, like what is the team as far as like what's the composition of the team at the time, how does it look post draft. These are all things that have to be taken into account when you do these drafts. And almost there. And that's something that we're going to obviously do. So I don't care who gets the number one pick. Oh yes. So who is talking the most, Drippy? Yes. Does it matter to you who gets the number one pick?
To me, no.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So with that being said, matter of fact, you can take number one pick.
And I will take the number one pick. As the general manager of this non-existent team, because we're just picking for the team.
Right.
I will pick Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I would pick him number one.
You pick him number one?
And my rationale behind that is we see a lot of strengths between guys near the top, and Kawhi obviously has this incredible resume of now being a 2-time Finals MVP. He is 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, the All-Star accolades, the All-NBA performances. Even this past season, in what people thought was disappointing for the Clippers, he was such a big standout in every game he played, and his game is so complete. You could put him on any team, and especially that Cavs team that needed everything in every box. He would be the perfect guy.
There was, I'm not sure if it was this year, but there was a year where there was like team needs and was like everything. That is exactly
everything.
Yes. That was Kawhi Leonard, and he definitely can do that for this Cavs team. So Zach is going to take Kawhi Leonard number one overall. Let me move Kawhi right in there. I wish I had the sound. I'll probably add it in post. We draft the 2003 draft class soon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work backwards. I'm gonna start with 2011 because that's 10 years out. Then we're gonna work backwards from 2011 on to 2000, and I don't know. Maybe I might actually do 1991. Would I be 30 years? Maybe 2001. I don't know. Something like that. I haven't quite decided yet, but yes, we're gonna be doing more redrafts like this soon.
You could go ultra nerd and do that 2000 draft. That was horrific.
Nobody wants to do the 2000 draft. 2000 draft is horrible.
That horrific draft.
So with the number 2 pick, so I'm actually not going to take Kyrie. Kyrie is not going to be going number 2 for me. I'm actually going to take. It really comes down to Jimmy Butler or Klay Thompson for me, and I especially when I'm thinking about that Timberwolves squad that had at the time Michael Beasley would be coming in, and and Kevin Love was the primary star. Ricky Rubio, we were getting ready to come over. Need a guy who can come in, get buckets, and not fight with David Kahn for sending over Nikola Pekovic. I'm actually going to take Klay Thompson as my number 2 pick.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
And I do like the defensive and offensive ability of that player, Klay Thompson, and the way that he would space the floor. Because if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Martin would be coming over if they do make the James Harden trade. He would be coming over the season after this. So Klay and Kevin Martin just going in would be hilariously fun to watch. I would love to see that. I'd pay all the money to see Klay, Kevin Thompson, Klay Thompson, Kevin Martin, Ricky Rubio, and Kevin Love with probably Nikola Pekovic in the center, or because they don't have Derek Williams and he's not going to be drafted. Who would have been their center in 20? It would just probably been Pekovic, yeah.
I feel like it would have been between Pekovic and then Love would have been doing like those alternate minutes.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense, and Klay's a winner. Klay's gonna get you that bucket, and unlike Kawhi Leonard, and this is the reason why I did not want to take Kawhi Leonard, is because I feel like the Spurs was so instrumental to his success that I don't think that Kawhi becomes that player if he goes to Cleveland. I think that Klay still becomes Klay regardless of what team he goes to. That's why it basically came down for me between Jimmy Butler and Klay Thompson, or whether who I was going to take as the number 1 pick. But Kawhi Leonard going number 1 is still a valid pick, as is, and I have Klay Thompson going 2.
I love that. I think it makes a lot of sense based on the team's needs. They would be going into the next season getting Ricky and having more stability, of course, like 1,000% with a guy like Klay Thompson.
Right.
And it would be interesting to see how Ricky's trajectory would be changed by having somebody like Klay to completely change the environment around the offense. A big part of why Rubio was struggling was because he had issues adapting to the pace, but he also had issues just getting his style and his ball dominant necessities to match a winning style of basketball. I feel like having somebody like Klay to be an offensive point of focus for him instead of Kevin would have been such a big step up, and it could have potentially changed both of their careers dramatically. But I think what this does more than anything really puts that extra nail in the coffin of Wesley Johnson's career, because that guy would be getting like negative minutes if they did that.
I completely forgot Wesley Johnson was drafted literally the year before, and
they have a starting shooting guard they drafted,
and it's just like, ooh. But like, this is also not like a King situation with Thomas Robinson, DeMarcus Cousins, Jason Thompson, Jimmer Fredette, Isaiah Thomas, all being, well, that's two separate positions. Jason Thompson played more of the 4, and Thomas Robinson did, and you kind of slid Boogie into the 4 as a 5 depending on the situation. But like, you're drafting Klay Thompson completely knowing that he's better than Wesley Johnson. Like, you're giving up on the Wesley Johnson experiment right then and there, calling it a day, and you figuring it out afterwards. We clamped. W.
He takes a stop right behind Wayne Ellington. He's done.
Wayne Ellington. Oh my gosh. Like, it's just
These rosters are just like painful to look at. Michael B.
How much money did Wayne Ellington get when he was on the when he's on the Pistons? Let me actually see that. First of all, Wayne Ellington is still collecting a check. He is currently on a shout out Basketball Reference. He's currently getting paid $8 million. He's getting paid $2.5 million after he got paid $8 million from the Knicks.
What? Yeah, that NBA, this salary cap really be hitting different. He's just,
like, bro, like, what?
He has 2 checks coming in. Because the Knicks still owe him money.
That's
how?
That's gross. I don't I don't understand why you would do something like that. Oh my gosh.
Several seasons, 2 teams had to pay him. Several times.
Ugh. Trenton Ridgeway, what's going on? When I get the chance, can I make Jonathan Isaac on current gen? I can when I get the chance. Look out for I'll put him up on the poll, the voters poll, probably next week, probably Monday, and we'll see if he wins. I like Jonathan Isaac. I think he's a versatile enough player to still get picked even this late in the 2K cycle. Excuse me. So yeah, by all means, I have no problems picking him up and getting ready to create him. So number 3, you have you're on the board, Zach.
All right, I'm gonna look at my list. I was actually going to pick Kyrie in this spot, not remembering they had Ricky coming in. So I guess, yeah, the Jazz have this.
Now, before you pick, remember this is the Jazz pick. What I try to do with, especially number 7 and number 10, because number 7 eventually goes to Charlotte in the 3-team trade that sends Bismack Biyombo to the Bobcats, and number 10 was originally Jimmer Fredette trade that sends them to the Kings. Number 3 was the Darren Williams trade, which he was already traded, and this was originally New Jersey's pick. So, Nets fans, you get to have a conniption all over the play, all over again, over the fact that you really gave away the 3rd pick for Darren Williams.
I guess it would only be right. It's Kyrie.
Okay.
It's gotta be Kyrie.
All right. So here was my problem with when they originally drafted Enes Kanter. They had Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap at the time. They picked up Derek Favors. They got him in the trade for the Darren Williams trade, and then they pick up Enes Kanter. And essentially, what happens is now you have these 2 sets of big men who have starter caliber, but your newer guys are going to be stunted by the older guys, and the older guys are still 25, 26. Like Al Jefferson was drafted coming out of high school in 05, so he was only 6 years in, but he was only like 24, 25. Paul Millsap was a 3-year, either 3 or 2 years coming out of Louisiana Tech, and essentially they had these 2 big men coming in behind them, and their games were basically exactly the same. So I guess it was kind of this plug and play type of thing. But at the same time, they needed that guard, and the Darren Williams trade still to this day surprised everybody. Like I remember him getting traded, and I was like, I didn't even know he was on the market. But with a guy like Kyrie, you get instant offense. Who is the starting 5? Let me look that up real quick, of that Utah Jazz team in 2011, 2012. You have it up?
So the people that started the most games appeared to be Al Jefferson, Paul Millsap, Gordon Hayward, Devin Harris,
and who also came over in the Darren Williams trade,
and some mix of Raja Bell. And then, like, he was injured for half the season, so people would have to plug and play Josh Howard, C.J. Miles, Earl Watson, played 50 games. Alec Burke played 59 games as a 20-year-old. Like, there were a lot of other pieces. 37 games by Jamal Tinsley. A lot of people.
Oh, my gosh. Jamal Tinsley was getting minutes this year?
That's right, because as a 35-year-old, Raja Bell was actually finishing up his career. I believe he had some sort of leg injury and only played 34 games.
And now he's on the Real Ones podcast. But Alec Burks was also taken in this draft by the Jazz a little bit later. I think they actually took him with the 12th pick. This wasn't a terrible draft for the Jazz, but as I'm also looking, I'm like, how many of these players actually ended up playing with the Knicks? You've got Jimmer Fredette, Alec Burks, Marcus Morris. Who else played with the Knicks? I think that's it. As far as like the top 15. Derek Williams also played with the Knicks. And Iman Shumpert. And his kid. That's too many players.
That's a lot.
That's a lot for them.
I'm surprised Bismack Biyombo never put on a Knicks uniform.
Because he was always stuck in Charlotte. That's why. It wasn't by nature. It was just that Charlotte had him locked up. Isaiah Thomas, weak clamp. Do you think we should have taken him third over Kyrie? I disagree. Especially considering how many seasons of top tier performance you got out of Isaiah Thomas versus Kyrie Irving. I would like Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas at his peak, Kyrie Irving at his peak. I would take Isaiah Thomas, but I'm only going to get like 2-3 seasons of that at max because he's an undersized guard, and undersized guards, especially once they're damaged, they're damaged.
And the type of injury he had affected his style of play, because certain guys can make those adjustments when they have certain parts of their game. I'm not even saying like, oh, he's short, so he can't do this, and because he can't compensate for defense. But when you're charging the basket, you have a lower body injury, like a hip flexor or something like that. You can't do those special things like contort and maneuver, and you're asked to spot up, shoot, make certain adjustments. And we saw him do that, and he couldn't do that. So I think the ability for him to push himself in that position also has to do with longevity.
Right.
And him not at his best is so far away from him at his best.
Exactly.
So far.
Like, he was struggling to get minutes last couple seasons, even signed with a team. And
that Cavs run was damning. It disrupted a lot of people that were pulling for him at the time.
Yeah, especially considering that they gave up Kyrie for him, and the whole thing just it wasn't a good look for Isaiah Thomas. And then obviously he had the Lakers run, then he had the run. Was it Denver for a couple seasons? Then he was on the Wizards last season, and then he was on the Pelicans for a couple games, and then they waived him. Like, that injury really messed him up. They got to send him to Phoenix. He's got to go back to Phoenix. That's essentially what's got to happen. Get him that medical staff.
In Phoenix, it was when Phoenix was still a joke, and people were like, "Damn, another Phoenix miss. Damn, they missed again. Can't believe Phoenix missed." And now, like, it would be a blessing for him to get there.
Here's what's crazy about that entire season. Because the season before, that was the year that they were one game off of the playoffs. And I remember this, and then also I did a video on it when I can't remember. I did a video on a Sun this past week, and I completely can't remember it. But anyway, Goran Dragic. That's exactly who it was. Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe were the backcourt that year, the year with Miles Plumlee, one of the Morris brothers. I think both of the Morris brothers by that point were on the team. And then the season after that, they added Isaiah Thomas to the mix, and then they traded Isaiah Thomas and Goran Dragic in the same season for absolutely nothing. Like, they got complete trash for that. And honestly, they had this small 3-guard lineup that season, and I was like, I mean, that could work. But what they ended up where they messed up was once they realized the experiment didn't work. They traded one of them away, Eric Bledsoe, but then the same day they trade, not Eric Bledsoe, they trade Goran Dragic away because, again, it's 3 guards, only one of them really plays defense. Keep the other guard. That's it. Eric Bledsoe could have played with Isaiah Thomas. Eric Bledsoe could have played with Goran. He played with Goran Dragic for an entire season. It was completely fine. And that's, I feel like, a huge misstep that they made. And you look at even the trajectories of all 3 guards. Eric Bledsoe is the only one who has never made an all-star team, which is fine. I mean, it's hard. But
there's only so many all-stars.
But that same token, Goran Dragic, although he was a backup, he made it. And Isaiah Thomas was an all-star. And if not for injury, like, that would have been a completely horrible trade for Phoenix. Now they're in the finals, so I guess it kind of worked out. But, like, yeah, that wasn't a great move on Phoenix's part.
It wasn't, and you see that happen in other places too. And that's something I've been wondering about these Thunder teams is that are they going to end up occupying this really weird static where for the next 5 seasons we're always having this conversation where it's like, wow, they have like 8 guys that could be like the 4th guy on a championship team in 5 years, and it's like, well, what's the point? We're sitting around doing what? We're wasting all these people's time. That one year is gonna come where like Dort and everybody else is gonna just leave, and they're all gonna do way better things and
Yeah.
make one GM look and it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be Presti, but somebody's gonna look really stupid.
I think that especially for the trajectory of the Thunder right now, what they need to do is they need to package as many players as possible, try to get them a superstar caliber player. Hope Kemba's knees hold up. Pair them around SGA and go to work. Like I would Ben Simmons. Get Ben Simmons. And I know this sounds crazy, but get Ben Simmons, play him at the 4 with Lou Dort, SGA, and or Kemba Walker at the 1. Either or, it completely doesn't matter. But like, that's what you need. That's really what that's the type of team that you need. Like you have entirely too many picks, and you're not going to be able to play them all.
It's literally just a matter of like, where's this end? What's the end? What's my goal?
Right.
Because we can't just keep getting picked. There's no like, oh, if you can convert me 20 first rounders in a 3-year period, I'll give you an NBA championship. Like that's not a rule in the NBA. Like,
exactly.
You can't do that.
Yeah, and that's the Thunder need to sit down draft night and really start to get on their moves. But all right, number 4. Should I just take Tristan Thompson and call it a day?
I mean, you need a center.
No.
Still need a center.
I absolutely am not going to be taking Tristan Thompson with the 4th pick. And that would have been a fireable offense in 2011. And it's a fireable offense now.
You would think.
Didn't Byron Scott get fired that season? Oh no, he didn't get fired that season. He did not.
He lasted 2 more seasons.
So let me actually look at the rotations. We still have Varejao. Varejau's about to have a really good season. Hold on. This was the season that Varejao went off. And if not for injury, he would have been. I know. I like Varejao right now. I still don't have a point guard.
Okay, Varejao was putting up like a real steady 11 and a half. All right.
Yeah, no, he was doing work.
Didn't know.
I have Kawhi already. I can play Kawhi at the 3. Because he's more defensive minded now, so he doesn't develop into that 2-way game. So I can play him at the 3, or I can play him at the 4 as like an undersized, like early precursor, undersized 4. I mean, well, Reggie Evans was the undersized 4 at the same time. He's undersized 5. Yeah, team needs just everybody. Like I'm looking at this roster, and Boobie Gibson and Alonzo G were getting a lot of minutes, and that's not what you want. That's not a winning team.
You gotta think. Do you need value? You need minutes immediately. You really need someone that can step on the court and do something right now.
I'm gonna actually take Kemba Walker. It's a little early, and I would go with Jimmy Butler. Any other draft, but because you took Kawhi Leonard, and Jimmy Butler needed some time to develop.
Another guy who benefited from the environment.
Yes, it's more so. Like you said, I need somebody to come in and get me some buckets. Like in a hurry.
Today. And Kemba is that guy.
Yeah.
You need a guy that can play tonight because it's dire, and
Uh,
especially because it would be like I feel like having Kawhi, they would approach it similarly to Kyrie, right? Like we got to keep this guy. We
right.
need to keep him.
Now, as I'm looking at the guys we have and the guys in the first round, like I could have gone with Enes Kanter. Of course, I could have gone with Enes Kanter and been completely fine. He's a big man. Valanciunas would have been fine. Vucevic would have been fine. Tobias Harris would have also been fine. Could have gone with Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, of course. I just think that, again, the issue is that Kemba Walker was that player, similar to Kyrie Irving. We Clamp just said Tobias Harris. You got to think about rookie Tobias Harris, though. Tobias Harris coming out of Tennessee was not the player that he is now. He was even his rookie season, he was just okay. Like he developed his game into what we see now. If I need a guy that the most NBA ready player out of the guys like taken in the draft this year, outside of the top 3, Kemba Walker. Like if I had like a 3-year, if I could put him in the freezer for 3 years and take him out, Jimmy Butler by all means would have been the next pick. But for that reason, I'm gonna go with Kemba Walker, and I'm gonna stick by that. I'm stand by that one.
That's brave. That's brave.
I'm standing by it.
Very brave.
Sandro was good. All right, so you've got number 5, Zach.
All right, so the Raptors have this pick, and they're going into this season.
They don't have They don't have Kyle Lowry yet. They have Andrea Bargnani is still their best player.
All right, but Andrea Bargnani is their best player. They just fired Jay Chirino. If you remember, he was the head coach.
The coach, Jay Triano, yeah.
Yeah, Jay Triano, and they're now hiring
Dwayne Casey, right?
Dwayne Casey.
Yeah.
Brian Colangelo is the executive, and they don't have a lot of anything. And they haven't been able to really see standout pieces like DeRozan yet. They don't know that Bargnani's about to get injured.
Oh wait, sorry. Kyle Lowry is on the. Sorry to interrupt, but Kyle Lowry is on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He is taken. So keep that in mind. They do have Kyle Lowry. They do have. No, they don't. Because Kyle Lowry is traded mid-season to the team, so they don't have Kyle Lowry yet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't have Kyle Lowry till the season
afterwards. Yeah, because Valanciunas doesn't come over until the next year. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't even convert on that yet. I was thinking like they might need a center, but they don't know that Bargnani is gonna be hurt, so like Valanciunas wouldn't have made no sense.
Right.
I think this is Jimmy Butler because they don't have much of anything, and they do see that DeRozan is coming and kind of emerging as a shot taker. So naturally, you want a guy that has the potential maybe to start stepping up and taking more. But if it's not Jimmy because they didn't see that, I don't know. I'll keep it at Jimmy. I feel confident with Jimmy because it is a bit of like, do you know what you know? But it also is a bit of what potential do we have? What's the ceiling? Jimmy was an athlete.
Yes, he
the
was.
guy had a great athletic makeup, and he had great ethic. And I feel like a new coaching staff, new team, a lot of new pieces into the franchise, they'd want to take that challenge.
I agree.
Potential in that.
I definitely agree, and I would have taken Jimmy Butler also here, but also I would pay all the money, every single dollar that I own, to see him and Andrea Bargnani go at it at practice.
Oh my god!
Because like Andrea Bargnani is not like, contrary to what people believe, like Andrea Bargnani was a bust, but he wasn't soft. So like for him to come in and be like, yo, like as a Joakim Noah, I feel like I feel like Andrea Bargnani, his career would have actually elevated with Jimmy Butler on the team. I wholeheartedly believe that. Like I'll put money on that. Like for them to go at it in practice, I feel like he'd be like, "Yo, let's go, let's get big with it." Kind of like what
He'd be like, "I'm not letting you do me like that. I'm
Right.
not letting you make me look like this."
I agree, and I think that's I feel like that would be great. I feel like that would have been great for his career. I feel like that would have been great for DeMar DeRozan's career also, because DeMar DeRozan about that action, 100%. Like from Compton, like he really about that action. And
it would have been a match made in heaven, honestly, having like Butler and DeRozan just at the 2-3 playing off each other, like the screens they'd be setting for each other, just the double teams. Bro,
it would have been
that'd be
beautiful. And
hectic. It'd be hectic.
Also, when you think about it, if they do still make the Kyle Lowry trade, you got Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and DeMar DeRozan, and you can keep that. Like, you don't necessarily need Kawhi. You could keep that that 3-man rotation for years.
They could come up as a 3 all-star team.
Yes.
At a rate, because if they were together, and Kyle's the type of guy, the longer you have Kyle on a team, the higher the ceiling of every player still on the team reaches. Because you see Fred VanVleet.
Right.
That doesn't happen without Kyle on that team.
Agreed.
That's not how it is without Kyle and Dwayne and Nick Nurse around like that. And the same thing with Norman Powell and all those other guys that have been coming out of Toronto.
I agree. Completely agree. Also in the chat, I Shall Rage, appreciate you for coming back. I'll catch you later. Jumpman Sandro, it's all good that you haven't been here in a while. Just appreciate you stopping in. All right, so we got the 6th pick. This was originally the Jan Vesely pick, and I always laugh at this pick, not because Jan Vesely was a complete bust, but because of the fact that on draft day, I don't want to pull it up because I'm 100% sure that it would be a disaster. But when he gets drafted, I remember draft day very, very, very vividly. Like, everybody was talking about Jan Vesely's girlfriend and how, like, she was kissing on him, everything. She looked supermodel. That is the lasting memory I have of Jan Vesely. I cannot remember a single NBA moment from Jan Vesely. But let's see. They have John Wall. They don't have Bradley Beal yet. Do you take a flyer and take Isaiah Thomas here?
Whoa. Reaching really, like,
I mean,
are
it's
they
not
that desperate?
I mean, it's not. It wouldn't be a reach considering the type of player Isaiah Thomas is, but like, I think that
What do they need?
everything.
Yeah, they kind of need a bit of.
The starting 5 this year was, let's see. I feel like Jan Vesely got a lot of them. Nick Young was still on the team. JaVale McGee was their starting center. So he was shacking. This was prime shacking the fool. JaVale McGee. This is like right before he got traded to the Nuggets. Nick Young, Jordan Crawford, Rashard Lewis was still getting minutes. Keep getting them checks, Rashard Lewis. Kevin Seraphin was getting a lot of play. Trevor Booker, like they need a
You
3.
know who got a lot of starts that season?
Who?
Chris Singleton got a lot of starts that season for the Wizards.
Who would be taken in this same draft?
He'd end up being taken way later in the same
No,
draft.
wait, he got taken, I think 17.
It was like 17 or 16 or something.
Yeah.
18.
Okay.
By Washington. Washington, actually. Yeah.
I knew they picked him up and it wasn't a trade or anything. Let me actually look at the type of players that we've got here. It's I mean, with them taking John Wall with the first pick, although this was the season that John Wall just completely stunk it up as far as like shooting goes. Like he couldn't shoot the side of a bar, like the side of a barn from the 3-point line. Looking at the guys we got here, I think that
team needs everything. I actually agree. The team needed everything.
I don't want to put I like, for me, I don't want to put Isaiah Thomas in this situation now that I'm looking at it. Like, I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, oh my God, like Nick Young and JaVale McGee are your bets. I don't think that's good. And Nene, well, Nene was solid. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna put it on the board. I'm not gonna say anything, and I'll explain my logic. Nikola Vucevic.
Oh, my guy, Vucevic
Had the Vooch jersey already ready.
My guy. Yes, this. I was hoping this is the perfect pick for the Wizards. A guy who has basketball IQ for eons. A man with so much natural basketball talent you don't even know. Nikola Vucevic, legendary Magic center.
Yes, I had to stop and think.
The most famous one I can think of.
He's the most famous Magic center, like in the history of the entire. He's the most historied. He's their best All-Star. He was great. He's the GOAT. Like, if he's
rebounder, best interior defender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I just wish that he went. I just wish that he did like more All-Star activities, like a slam dunk contest, like a 3-point contest, or something like that. Really show off his skills and whatnot.
Skills.
Shout out, first of all, for shout out to Vucevic for not leaving Orlando like so many of their other stars did, because he really could have gotten his bag and been like, look, I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Like, I gotta do what's best in my career. And I mean, people would have looked at it like, oh, he's just another Shaq. He's just another Dwight Howard. He's just another. Well, T-Mac was injured. Grant Hill was injured also. But, like, I mean, it's same old Magic. It would be same old Magic in that situation.
You wonder what would have happened to his career had he, like, just taken a step sideways or somewhere else.
Like, if he made a lateral move instead of, like, saying, like, hey, I'm going to stay with this team. Like, if he was to go with. If he was assigned with the Wizards, imagine Vucevic on the Wizards in like 2016.
Yeah. Because the Magic, one of the best, or one of the most damning things about them is they weren't just a team that was struggling at the time, or just kind of in this middle period where they were like losing Howard and losing other pieces in the fallout of that, but like they're not a good organization particularly. So keeping a star was not just going to be hard, it was also going to be, grading. But
right.
All these other teams you could have got picked on, you just list them out, like this Wizards team, Kings, Pistons, Bobcats, Bucks, Warriors.
Imagine
like,
on the Bucks right now. Imagine on
imagine
Vooch on the Bucks right now.
Oh my gosh.
Now, if I remember correctly, the 7th pick. Well, I know it was part of the 3-team trade that went to the Bobcats, so even still, he wouldn't go to the Bucks. But yeah, like I would have loved to see. I would love to see Giannis, in most of these guys actually. Matter of fact, no, I'm actually for the Bucks pick. I'm gonna draft a guy. Giannis would have loved to play with him. 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giannis would have loved to play with this guy.
Okay, so you're gonna be picking that.
Well, yeah, I have the 10th pick.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say like so we got that to look forward to.
That is unless he goes off the board first.
Because we already had that actually happen. All right, so we're at 7.
Yeah, we're at 7 right now. That's your pick.
Yeah, and it's Sacramento. Let me pull up this Sacramento team. I'm not entirely abreast of what they needed.
They had DeMarcus Cousins and I think Tyreek Evans, and that was basically it.
Oh yeah, so they had just drafted Evans a couple seasons earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and then they drafted Cousins the season after.
Right. Which was solid.
Incredible.
Solid. That
Yeah.
was like Tyreek Evans in 2009, DeMarcus Cousins in 2010. Great. Jimmer Fredette, Nick Stauskas, Thomas Robinson, and Ben McLemore in the years afterwards. Not very good. Even Isaiah Thomas as a second-round pick, great pick.
Yes. When you think about it like that, yeah.
Like Sacramento did really good things.
They tried to put a roster together here. You could definitely see the attempt.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of. It's really incredible to me that they had no point guards other than Thomas and Fredette when they went into this season. So they had no veteran experience at the point guard at all.
Mm-hmm.
Hassan Whiteside, Jason Thompson, John Stallmans, Tyler Honeycutt, who they also drafted this year. They need so much stuff.
Yeah.
But more than anything, they need a point guard. Unfortunately, I don't know that a particularly good one is still available for them.
What do you got? Brandon Knight, Isaiah Thomas. You could just go with Isaiah Thomas and just send him back to Sacramento. Jimmer Fredette,
You know what?
Reggie Jackson is still on the board.
I don't disagree with that. I think I'll pick Isaiah Thomas.
Okay. I mean that makes 100% sense for the roster, considering that he was on the roster. He just goes a little bit early.
This stability will bring something different to his career, because the whole narrative was always like, I'm getting tossed around, nobody believes in me, I was the last pick. Now he's the 7th pick in the entire draft.
Yeah.
You know? Gets a big contract, gets everything.
And also, I believe that Charlotte isn't going to make a 3-team trade to try to get Bismack Biyombo. So, I mean, if they wanted to take him at 9, they absolutely could. Michael Jordan could be like, yeah, he blocks shots and everything.
And everything.
And everything. He has that one really good season. One really good series against the Cavs. Not season. One good series against the Cavs.
It was like 6 games, if that.
Yes.
Against the Cavs.
When he was on, was he on the Raptors that year? I believe so.
Yeah, Raptors.
Yeah. Number 8, the Pistons. I feel like who was taken by the Pistons this year? Brandon Knight. That's what I thought. They had Greg Monroe the year before. They would draft Andre Drummond the year afterwards. I don't know. The way that Greg Monroe's career just kind of falls off once the game adapts and he doesn't adapt is crazy. Oh my God, this roster is a travesty. How many games did they win that season? They won 25 games still with this season. Like they were not they were 4th in the Central Division, but like they were not the worst in the league because the Bobcats were still the worst team in the league.
Because the Bobcats were about to win 7 games.
This roster, I'm gonna tell you the most occurring starting 5. Greg Monroe, 31-year-old Tayshaun Prince, Brandon Knight, Rodney Stuckey, and Jason Maxiell, with Ben Gordon coming off the bench and Ben Wallace still giving you 1.4 points and 4.3 rebounds as a 37-year-old.
They're bringing out like the milk wheeler. They're just having like Ben Wallace's body propped up, just carting him out to the free throw line.
Oh my
attempts.
Gosh!
It's like, there you go. We know you guys are bad this season, so he'll shoot 4 times at the end of the game. And if you win, you win.
So I was actually all right. So the pick that I originally was gonna send to Milwaukee was going to be Tobias Harris, and have him and Tobias just go ham, just have all the fun in the world. He's going back to Detroit. I gotta send him back to Detroit. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Tobias Harris. You gotta go to. You gotta be you got to give this team something. And what this team currently has is a team need of everything. They do still need a point guard, and they probably won't get it this season. But coming out of Tennessee, he was a small forward. He can alleviate some of those Tayshaun Prince minutes, who was the second leading scorer at 12.7 points per game. And it's just like, excuse me, he wasn't the second leading scorer. Sorry. He just started the most games. He was the fourth leading scorer behind 12.8 points for Brandon Knight and 14.8 points for Rodney Stuckey, with Greg Monroe at number one with 15.4 points per game. Like, this team had to score 100 points per game. How did they get there? How did they get there? The answer is they didn't. They got to 90.9 points per game. And that's the reason why they only won 25 games. Oh my gosh.
How could they possibly score even close to 100 points? They can't.
they didn't.
They absolutely couldn't.
I feel like Tobias Harris, even at this stage in his career, would get them 16, 17 points per game.
He could, on that team, he could easily average 16.5 points a game.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He'd be the only guy besides Greg on that team that could get an offensive rebound. He's immediately getting points off that.
Right. Agreed. Now that we got that out the way, because I don't want to talk much more about this Pistons team, because this Pistons team is bad, and it's not going to get much better for 10 years. Right now, they're going to be better. Like, this season with Cade Cunningham and Sadiq Bey and Killian Hayes, they're better now. But, like, they had to go through a lot of bad years, including but not limited to this series, this stretch with Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond. Then they had Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond, Josh Smith all starting. Why would you do that? Fireable. I wish I had.
Fireable, man.
I'm trying to find my other phone real quick. So I can get the meme real quick. I don't have it on hand, but two phones in my hand, like like Joe Dumars, like yeah. Josh Smith,
I'm trying to get
doesn't shoot threes, not at all. I've got a front court. No, I want him today. Get him over here. They really signed Josh Smith, Andre Drummond, and Greg Monroe together and thought, you know what would be a great idea on top of that? Let's put Brandon Jennings there. Why? Why would you do that? I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. Like, first of all, who's spacing the floor? Second of all, Brandon Jennings is a score first, second, third, fourth, and fifth type of point guard. Who was he passing to? He wasn't really running pick and rolls like that. Like,
they got a bunch of guys. Here's what they figured, right? The other team has the ball. Defense, we already don't have any.
Right.
So we're skipping that step entirely, right? Greg Monroe's out there. Defense, I never heard of her. Never met her. Somebody gets the rebound. We hand it to any one of these, like, 80 guards we have, and it's just NBA Street after that. We can do that for 90 possessions. We'll score 90 points. Maybe.
That's Tobias Harris is going to give you that stability. He's not going to give you much in the way of defense, but he'll at least give you some ball movement, and he will get you a bucket, which is what this team needed 100%.
Even look at Tobias and how he plays now.
Mm-hmm.
Tobias doesn't play man defense. He plays excellent team defense because Tobias is a great basketball player, but he's not a natural defender.
I agree.
So on this team, he's perfect. He'll fit right in. No defense, no problem. I got it. I know that.
And yeah, that's what you're gonna get. So number 9, that's your pick.
So I have been putting a lot of consideration into this. It's been looming over me, and it's because of all the choice we have now, all this new history we've written. Tristan Thompson and Enes Kanter are available right now. That's
They
an
are.
incredible thing.
They are.
That being said, the team was owned by who at the time, Spidey?
Michael Jordan.
Mac Roberts? Yeah, Michael Jordan. So knowing that, and knowing how stubborn he is, they pick Bismack Biyombo, and
Of
that's who we're
of
going
fucking
with
course
right
they
now.
do. Of fucking course they do.
And that's who I would like for you to put right there.
Wow. That was a troll pick. But 100% that would be accurate. I feel like the
Michael would know and still pick Bismack. He'd have all this Back to the Future information everybody else here in the lottery has, and be like, "I will take Bismack Biyombo."
that's honestly that. And you want to know why I know that's fact? Because it is 2021, and Bismack Biyombo left the Bobcats / Hornets and came back to the Bobcat Hornets. Michael Jordan is in love with this man. I don't know what it is. He really likes him.
Michael is rich enough not to care about sunk cost value. He's rich enough to be like, this is not a failed investment till he stops playing. So if I get him back and he's good, it's worth the millions of dollars I've already paid him.
They saw that one Toronto series and be like, see? I knew I wasn't crazy.
Get him back now.
Get Masai on the phone right now. Do what you have to do.
He was on a 4-year, $70 million contract from Orlando, and the Hornets were like, "We'll pay the back end of that.
Oh my
I want to pay the last 3 years of that deal right now."
That's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Michael Jordan absolutely would still take Bismack Biyombo, 100%.
I don't feel any reservations about this pick. I don't. I can't like justify anything else. It's incredible to me too, because at the time I don't remember him being, or like I haven't been able to find anything that says like he was highly rated, or like he was like a standout, or like even his play and his overseas team, because I believe that team won EuroLeague, and it was the same team Bohan and Jan Vasily came out of, was that like Faber Che whatever team.
Yeah, the ACB team.
Yeah, the ACB team. Thank you. And Michael was still like, this random. I want that one.
I want that guy right there. That's the guy I want right now.
It's like that. I've been to Belmont plenty of times, and there's this thing you'll see where you'll see a guy listening to who isn't getting bet on, and this guy's always just a crippling alcoholic or like a gambling fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just sit there only doing low bets. That's Michael with this pick. He was like, who's no one talking about? Bismack Biyombo, it's not even a real name. I'll pick him.
It's not a real name. Let's go. I want all the money on him.
Oh, I'll take him with my ninth pick.
So, with the 10th pick, Andrew Bogut is on the team still with the Bucks.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do a 3-team trade to trade for Bismack Biyombo at 7, the Bobcats, because they grabbed him at 9.
They got him.
They got their guy.
They got their guy. Michael got his guy.
Giannis is still 3 years away, or 2 years away.
Yes, 2.
This pick is gonna surprise you. It's gonna surprise you.
What could it be?
I'm going with the Manimal. Going with Kenneth Faried.
Whoa!
Yes.
What?
Here's
You'll
why.
have to explain.
Here's why. If you look at the composition of Milwaukee right now, you have 1 second. Let me pull it up real quick. Who was on that team that year?
I'm super intrigued. Yeah, I'm like going through all the basketball reference pages.
Give me 1 second. Let me actually just pull this up real quick. And 20. John, I just wanted to get the team up. I had to. You got to go through multiple pages because obviously this Bucks pick did not. Oh, Tobias Harris was picked by the Bucks. I like Tobias Harris on the Bucks, and if Tobias Harris was available, and the Pistons were not a dumpster fire, I would have taken Tobias Harris right here at this pick. But when you look at this team, you got your starting five is because Andrew Bogut is eventually traded. This is the Monte Ellis year. So you got Monte Ellis and Brandon Jennings with Ersan Ilyasova, Steven Jackson, Carlos Delfino, and Luke Richard and Mbah a Moute. Keep getting them checks, Luke Richard. With this, with the composition of the team, first of all, you're missing a lot of shots. All Kenneth Faried is going to do is rebound the basketball. He can get you those. He'll get you those rebounds, and it'll be great. This team was 25th in rebounds that season, 27th in rebounding that season. If you get a guy like Kenneth Faried, he's gonna get you at least 15, 14, 15. He's like he's not a Dennis Rodman type, but he's an undersized 4 who'll get a bunch of rebounds. I like him in this position to get you rebounds, especially since you've got Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis as a backcourt once you make that Golden State trade. I feel like that makes sense as far as a team perspective. Then in 3 seasons you get Giannis, and he's still a rebounder, and we can put him in like a Reggie Evans type of deal, or even a Dennis Rodman. You're gonna have to surround them with 3-point shooters. So like you're gonna have to get in the next year. You don't get John Henson. You've got to get like I don't know, whoever's the most efficient 3-point shooter in the next year's draft. You get him, and then you get Giannis, and then you, instead of getting Jabari Parker, you get like, I don't know. You actually get Ben McLemore. You go for Ben McLemore or whatever. I don't know, but like you surround Giannis, and again, because we have foresight, you surround Giannis and Kenneth Faried with shooters, and you make it work.
It's a bold pick. I kind of understand what you're saying because fixing that rebounding problem is something that would have been accomplished where it wasn't with other people that ended up having, like John Law was nothing, and Larry Sanders would soon not be on the team.
Right.
John would be he would never take a step to become part of a winning formula for them. And they did have a couple people I see them trying to kind of like activate, or they were trying to build around those bigger parts of the roster, like with Udo and Gooden, who had been in his 9th year at the time. I definitely agree with the situation that it would have been such a great place for him to break out and do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
I potentially could have seen this being a good spot for them to pick somebody like when were they going to lose Monte Ellis?
They wouldn't lose Monte Ellis until the season after. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure they draft him, or they draft Tobias Harris, but they trade Monte Ellis that season. Yeah, he's only there for 2 seasons because then they break up that like 2-guard lineup that they had going on. Like they realized it was a failure.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would have been a little too early for them to try and reach out for a guy like Bohan. So I mean, personally, I was actually going to pick Iman Shumpert, but I agree with Kenneth.
So the other pick that I was going to go with was Valanciunas. Valanciunas would have been the better pick in my opinion, and the only reason why I did not go with Valanciunas was because of the fact that he's also a hustle guy. Kenneth Faried is, and it took Valanciunas a while to kind of grow into the role that he is in now. Like Faried came in by 3rd season, him and Tyler Lawson were like the best team that you've never heard of in the Nuggets.
Yeah, that was early in that part of that franchise's reputation of having a lot of guys that could do a lot of stuff.
So that's the only reason why I picked it. It was basically a lateral movement, or not lateral move. It was a movement thinking about what the future is looking like, knowing the history of the team of the Bucks, knowing the history of the team of the Nuggets and how Fareed performed. That's why I picked Fareed at that pick instead of going with a guy like Valanciunas.
Okay. All right. I can see it. I can see it. So, does that mean we're moving on to the next pick?
We are moving on to the next pick.
Okay. So this means it's the Warriors pick.
Warriors, come out and play. They don't have Klay Thompson now.
They don't have Klay Thompson now, and they only drafted Steph. What was it? The year before?
2 years before, 09.
2 years before.
And he's still. There's still a lot of questions about Steph and whether or not his ankles will hold up at this point. Monta Ellis was still your best player, but all right, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you get your pick off, and then I'm gonna posit a question.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, yeah, they have a clear need.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them, of course, as well as the Times.
Right.
But they do have a clear need, and it's in those bigger positions. They got the Instagram goat Kwame Brown over there. I think this is a great spot. I know you're big on Valanciunas because of he does have the aggression, and he does have just like the size. I love my boy Enes Kanter, and I will put Enes into the Warriors.
I was gonna say it would be for me either Enes Kanter or Valanciunas. Now, knowing the trajectory of, because this is just a redraft of 2011, that means they do still technically pick up Draymond Green in 2012. Now the question is, do you think that they trade? They still trade for Andrew Bogut and trade Monta Ellis, and if they do not, can you win that championship with Monta Ellis as your 2 guard instead of Klay Thompson?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. And you knew the answer to the question as you asked. I can see the smile on your damn face.
Honestly,
I'm looking at it.
The answer is no, you can't. But at the end of the day, like they Klay Thompson went 2nd overall to the Timberwolves. Like, they don't have that luxury anymore. Like,
people ask me all the time. People who used to work with us when we were covering St. John's basketball together, people who have worked with me individually, why did they get rid of Mark Jackson? That Mark Jackson guy could coach anywhere. You know why? Because his solution to this problem, let's get a guy who can make even worse decisions than a recent college graduate.
yeah.
Grown-ass Monta Ellis.
To be fair, Monta Ellis didn't go to college, so that's also a thing. I mean,
Mark Jackson.
I mean, but he was by that point, by the time he got traded, he was 6 years into the league, going on his 7th, and
it was supposed to be a turning point in his career. There were rumblings that he was not able to step up on a winning team, and this was supposed to be the change, especially after years of competitive Warriors teams with Baron Davis and Chris Kaman. Just a season and a half of stinking it up before with these pieces came together.
With Andres Biedrins?
With Andres Biedrins. Wait. Hold on. Okay, good. We muted him. All right. We just had somebody accidentally join our Discord call during our stream, so we're gonna just resume what we're doing.
Yes. Yes, with Andres Biedrins.
It's so obvious to me too that this team, like,
sorry, no, you had frozen.
Yeah. Okay, good. Sorry. It's so obvious to me too that, you know, obviously you need strong drafting, you need strong team composition, you need the salary to work. But the biggest thing that this disrupts is the natural order of how the team came together. Because
Mm-hmm.
this team's identity was, we're going to break down the system by which the Warriors are being run. We got a new coach. We got a new this. We got a new that. We got a new that. We're going to do it a different way.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Now, the identity would be like, we're building a standard team. We're doing the wholesale by the numbers.
Right.
Um, and I don't know that same really, really strong bond works
Right.
or happens under the circumstance. Because I think we both agree this is the right pickup at the time. Then
Yes.
it would be.
With
This is the
with
strongest guy.
with what you have left, I would say Enes Cancer, or if you wanted to go full defense, kind of like what Andrew Bogut would do for you, go with Jonas Valanciunas. But either one of those picks is basically the answer at this point, especially considering the guys that you got left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That being said, and that near faux pas averted, I will hand you the 12th pick.
1 second, because you're still frozen.
Yeah, when people enter and exit our chat room, our video feed gets disrupted.
Let me click on you again and see if that fixes you. There you go. Hey, sir.
You didn't see where it came from. That's Twitch legal. That's not TOS. It's not TOS. I'm on Twitch too. I know it's TOS.
Just the end of the stream right then and there.
Yeah, we really just let it all go.
All right, so number 12, we got the Utah Jazz. Oh my gosh. Who? Yeah, Brandon Knight, guys like Derek Williams, Jimmer Fredette, Jonas Valanciunas. I feel like if I draft, I honestly might draft Valanciunas here, but I feel like that's legitimately replacing Enes Kanter with Jonas Valanciunas, and the problem isn't actually fixed. Alec Burks is still. He's still.
You have to remember that they have Kyrie now. A lot of things are different in Utah because they'll be able to build a structure differently. So you gotta think about it like a foundational piece.
That's fair as well. What game am I playing, Chris Rogers? The game of redrafting the NBA. That's the game we're playing. Playing the game of redraft the NBA.
Yeah, he made it. He made his own game.
Gordon Hayward was there 3, right? Or he was there 2.
He was the 3. It was it was supposed to be like a combo, like a swing thing.
Yeah. They do pick Alec Burks with this pick, and Alec Burks 100% will not be taken with this pick. I'm just trying to decipher whether or not I'm going to go with. It basically for me comes down to Jonas Valanciunas. Trying to see if one of the Morris brothers could be a stretch for me, or picking up Mirotic or Bojan as a drafting stash and being like, we can call it. Yeah, 13. I'm going to replace Enes Kanter with Jonas Valanciunas. I thought about it, and the reason why is because, like you said, we've got Kyrie Irving now, and Kyrie Irving is a much better facilitator than Devin Harris is. But also, Jonas Valanciunas is not one of those players who needs the ball in his hands. Enes Kanter was a score first, back to the basket type of big, and he needed to get his 15 and 5. Like, Jonas Valanciunas will grab the board and put it back in and call it a day. That's all he needs. But also, Jonas Valanciunas is not coming over this season, So worst comes to worst, we still end up with the same draft position, maybe a little bit worse because Ennis Cantor is not on the team anymore, and you can just rely on your big man rotation of Al Jefferson, Derek Favors, and Paul Millsap, and hope for the best on that. The fact that this, the fact that Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson were both on the team, and neither one of them were an All Star their entire run in Utah lets me know that something was incredibly wrong with the schemes there. Like both of them leave. Al Jefferson becomes an All Star the very next year. Paul Millsap becomes an All Star for multiple years the year afterwards. Like, what were you doing with this in Utah? Utah, you had 2 All Stars and you let both of them walk. Like, you didn't offer them any money. You let them both walk. No sign and trade, no nothing. They were like, screw it. Because you wanted to build around.
We're all leaving.
You
we can't do this like this.
You wanted to build around Ennis Cantor and Derek Favors, and thought that was honestly like you might want to trade Derek Favors. I don't know, for Marcus Morris. Get you a stretch big and call it.
Just get my. I'll just take Valanciunas.
Right. Like Valanciunas is at least going to be a solid big, and like I said, he's not going to come over this year. He's not coming over until the next year. So this is also a lateral pick for the Kyrie pick, so that Kyrie can get his shots off, and also Derek was murdered by Carter. What's going on, Scott? You could also, again, lateral, like it's a lateral movement in the sense that you can try for better positioning next year because they drafted what position in the next year? 1 second. Why did I go so far back? Just trying to figure out what position they drafted in the draft this season. They were also pretty solid this season. Did they not own their pick this year? Hold on. Because if they didn't own their pick, that kind of changes a little bit.
Wait, what?
I'm trying to think on who they traded for. I don't think they had their pick. They did not have their pick.
The whole draft.
They did not have their pick. Their pick was. Oh my god. Wait. Okay, so the reason why they don't own their pick is because of the Al Jefferson pick. Or the Al Jefferson trade. The Al Jefferson trade from Minnesota to Utah after the Celtics traded Al Jefferson to the Timberwolves. Shout out Kevin McHale and Danny Ainge. But I think that honestly, you don't get your pick, sure.
Right.
But you could trade up with, the pieces that you have. You can honestly move Derek Favors and really see what you have with the incoming Jonas Valanciunas and call it a day. Like, I think that for Utah, this is a much better move than drafting Ennis Cantor. And then with Kyrie also, you have a team to build around with, at the very worst, Ennis Cantor. Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Al Jefferson, and Paul Millsap. Like, you could go 2, and there isn't a real 2 left on the board. Like, you could go Alec Burks again. You could go Iman Shumpert again. But I don't think that those type of players are game-changing enough for you to warrant it. Like, Iman Shumpert was really good because he was in New York. He was a 3-and-D player. He was really good. But, like, I don't know. Between his injuries and everything, like, he kind of fell off a cliff. I don't know.
I know, and I know exactly what you're saying, because it's like, yeah, he had, is he good on New York? Yeah. And then you look at everything else, and then kind of like really think about it, and you frame it, and like a lot of guys, the Jazz did have that effect on a lot of people, where it's like, yeah, like he was good here, but then it's like, they're doing other stuff other places, or it's a guy that's like they could only perform well in a place like this.
Yeah,
Like it's just like so fleeting.
I agree. Derek was murdered by car. Derek Williams. I don't know what happened to Derek Williams. Like Derek Williams still has not been drafted, and he probably will not get drafted.
Derek's definitely not in the top 14.
Like I don't know what happened to Derek Williams.
Let's see his stats as far as how his career winded up.
Oh,
Only
his career is disgusting. But like,
only 7 seasons.
yeah.
Damn.
Damn, indeed.
But if we're going on to the 13th pick,
Phoenix Suns. They still have Steve Nash.
they still have Steve Nash. And they originally drafted the first of the Morris brothers. Now, these 2 picks here were where the Morris brothers went.
Back-to-back picks.
Markieff to the Suns, and then Marcus to the Rockets.
Wait. Before you get into this. So, as I was putting together the picks and everything, Markieff has his picture. Like, he has a draft day picture and everything. He took a picture at draft day. Markieff and Marcus 100% were at draft day. Why does Marcus not have a picture at draft day? Like, he doesn't have a draft day picture with his hat on and his basketball. And you want to know why? Because they knew off drip they were going to be trading him to Phoenix. They knew. That's why I didn't give him a picture. Like, he was traded mid-season, but the reason why was because they knew he was not going to be here for a long time. He was going to be there for a good time.
In that same vein, I will pick. Because I had a bit of a layout, but now I'm not sure. And the Suns team already had so many pieces. This was a good team. Like,
Yeah.
all intents and purposes. 500 record for this coming season.
Mm-hmm.
What do they need? What do they need? They had Michael Red too. Damn, they had a few guys.
Yeah, they still had Kyle Lowry, didn't they? Or was he on the Rockets by this point?
You know what? You did this to me. You did this for me as a favor, and I want to repay you that favor. I gotta go with my boy Nikola Mirotic. I gotta go with Nikola Mirotic. The spicy meatball, Nikola Mirotic.
So Mirotic.
Fun fact. They use that nickname for both Mirotic and Bellinelli.
If you were an Italian guy and you could score a bit and you were crafty, you were the spicy meatball.
If you're in the Central Division and you could score threes, you're the spicy meatball.
Let me look at that 2011 Phoenix team. Marcin Gortat was still getting a bunch of minutes. Steve Nash, this is before he got traded. Jared Dudley, keep getting him checks. Channing Frye, Grant Hill. Grant Hill was still getting a lot of minutes. And he wasn't done yet because he went to the Clippers after this and was like, "Yeah, let's do this. One more run. I'm 39. I don't care." Which
He's
is
like, just give me some minutes. I just need some minutes.
Robin Lopez was still on the team. Markieff, who would obviously be traded to Markieff. Yeah, Markieff is on the team. Marcus will be traded the next season. Sebastian Telfair, New York City legend. Shout out Coney Island. Michael Red and Hakeem Warwick, who I always like. I liked Hakeem Warwick, even like in Syracuse. I was like, yo, he could really be something, and like especially when he was on Memphis, I was like, yeah, he could do something, and he's like Jeff Green for me, where it's like I felt like he had an extra gear that it just doesn't exist. It didn't. And
they always talked about him being this workhorse, this like dog athlete, and I'm like, in practice? Because like I'm looking at him play 28 minutes right now, and it looks like he's struggling.
Yeah.
It looks like he's not in rhythm.
Agreed.
And so who you got?
Oh, with my last pick, I I don't. I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far.
I was like, you're like, I thought we could just ride this Nikola joke.
um,
I'm a Bulls fan, by the way, for people that don't know. Anybody on the Bulls, I mark out for, including people on in this draft here.
I mean, Mirotic was good. Like that one, even like his first 2 seasons, he was good, and then he was just like, I'm gonna chill
He
there
had
for a
some
while.
very interesting games in New Orleans too.
I was
Like
getting
he
ready to
had
say
these weird spots where he was like, "I'm gonna drop 32 like right now."
casual, real
Yeah,
casual with it, and then be like,
11 for 18 like that.
uh, so this is the 2011-2012 season incoming, which means that first of all, the Rockets aren't going to win a lot of games. Who is their starting five?
Oh, this is gonna be.
You know I'm about to get into some shenanigans with this pick. You
Oh, this
already
is gonna
know.
be a looker. Oh,
Uh,
so there's a couple people we've already talked about today. At least one guy.
let me
They
see.
got Kyle,
Yes.
and
Oh,
Kyle's starting.
all right. So, yeah, Kyle Lowry is starting. Let me see. Let me see. There's the 2011-2012 Houston Rockets. Their starting five though was Luis Scola, Chandler Parsons, who I have here. He just didn't get drafted. He stole too much money from Dallas and then stole more money from Memphis. He wasn't gonna get drafted today.
No, we can't endorse that behavior with the picks.
Samuel Dallenberg, Kevin Martin, who would eventually go to Minnesota the next season, Kyle Lowry, Goran Dragic, who in a couple seasons would go back to Phoenix, Courtney Lee. It's Courtney Lee. Where is Courtney? Is Courtney Lee still in the league? I feel like he is because he's just like one of those guys. Oh no,
Didn't he go back to the Knicks recently or something like that?
another player who was on the Knicks. He was on the Knicks 2 seasons ago. Courtney Lee is one of those 3-and-D guys who I felt like was always gonna hang around the league. He's 34 years old. And collection, what's going on? Who else was getting a check from Hashim Thabit was getting a check from Phoenix right now. So I mean from the Rockets this season. And they finished with a 34-32 record. So just above 500. So they did actually win quite a few games. Basically on the back of Kevin Martin and Luis Scola and Kyle Lowry.
That was when Luis Scola was like, he had not just the credibility, the playing time. He was a fantasy god.
He was a fantasy god. Facts.
If you got him on fantasy, you had like 16 and 9 like immediately.
Is Luis Scola's hair real?
I believe at a certain point he made it look like that naturally, but it definitely isn't natural for this amount of time we're covering.
Like Luis Scola's hair is not real. Like I've never thought it was real. Like it always looked like
one shape. It's not one shape. It's not one shape.
Like I've never seen him have a haircut or anything. Like he had a haircut. All right, so I actually looked up Luis Scola real quick right now, and there's this picture of him when he signed with Olimpia Milano, and when I tell you, no joke, he looks like Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town.
No way.
I do not like. He looks like he's getting ready to tell me that he's number one.
If it didn't break everything for you to pull it off.
Matter of fact, I'm definitely gonna put it in post. But
right, yeah. People will see it.
Yeah, like he literally looks like Robbie Rotten in this photo. Like with the gray hair and everything. Like I believe that is his natural hair. That short hair is legit. Like he's been wearing a hairpiece all these years, tied down to a head with a headband.
Oh my god, this dude looks entirely different.
Like
it's unreal what he looks like without this hair.
Like that is the That's the hell I'ma die on. His hair was not real.
That hair wasn't real. That hair couldn't have been real. He wouldn't have chosen that hair. That had to have been some cruel prank by somebody in the organization.
He was playing Tony Hawk, and that was the only hair options available. That's what happened.
He got drafted in 02 and debuted in 07.
Yep.
Incredible. Incredible. Incredible.
As a 27-year-old, he was like, I came from Spain, and I'm here to get these buckets. And that is exactly what he did.
A bucket.
These buckets, that's what I want. All right, with the 14th pick, there's quite a few guys on the board. Derek Williams, Brandon Knight, Jimmer Fredette, Tristan Thompson, Alec Burks, the Morris brothers, Shumpert, Reggie Jackson, Bojan Bogdanovic, who's not going to come over for a couple seasons, Chandler Parsons, who was eventually taken with the Rockets with the second round pick. Okay.
What?
I'm going with Jimmer Fredette.
What?
Here's why.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Now. Yes. 2011.
Jimmer time was everywhere. Like, it was a phenomenon.
Jimmer time was super real. I can't even pretend like it wasn't.
And on this type of team that he doesn't have Boogie Cousins, he's going to get James Harden in a year. He's got he'll have bets like Marcus Camby, Samuel Dallenberg, to set him really, really tough screens as well. Like I think the Jimmer Mania would have happened a lot. Like it would have been a lot better anywhere but Sacramento.
It definitely would have had a chance. Like Sacramento is one of those teams. It would have been like him going to Charlotte, honestly, and just having everything just evaporate.
All right, no. So
how bad it was.
Charlotte, I feel like with Jimmer, absolutely goes off in Charlotte. I 100% believe that he goes off in Charlotte.
Oh, because there's just so little going on that you can just go crazy. That's a good point. If you're looking at it like that, then yeah, a team like Sacramento was bad because there was just so much project already started.
Exactly, and then it wasn't a healthy environment for him as well. Like you put Jimmer on Charlotte and tell him to go crazy. It'd be like, yo, it's BYU 2.0. Go off. We're not winning games, and it's not pressure for you to win games. Go off. He's going to do exactly like what he's doing overseas right now. Score 35 points per game, and the team lose by 20. And I wholeheartedly believe that is exactly what's going to happen in Houston. Even post James Harden trade, he's going to have to reel it back a bit. But by this point, now he has that confidence. Like, I feel like Sacramento as a team saps you of that confidence that you need in order to be a productive player. Like it's real tough to play in Sacramento. If you have a guy like it's amazing that Boogie Cousins became the type of player that he was in Sacramento. Same thing with Isaiah Thomas. Like the type of player that that's a cesspool.
It's incredible how much of that seemed to stay with them for at least their reputation, because who knows how people really behave. But at least in the media's eyes, there was so much built around that identity of Sacramento's a mess. Everybody that comes out of there is toxic, a bunch of bad cooks in the kitchen.
Right.
There was no chance anybody was getting out. Even people afterward, for real, it had damage on reputations.
I agree.
For Jimmer to be in Houston, I'm wondering how much it would change about their approach in the future, because when Harden came over, they immediately started making a lot of changes and trying to acquire talent around him. Do they even come across that trade for Harden if they draft Jimmer and let him do what he has to do? Because there was no other guard shooting like that. Kyle wasn't a shot taker like that. He was trying to do what he does these days.
I think that with the Harden trade, at least, I think that still happens because the Harden trade wasn't centered around their lottery pick. It wasn't centered around, like it was centered around Steve. It was centered around Steven Adams, who would have been the next year, the 2 year pick from now, and like it was future lottery picks. It was like they had a bunch of assets. We could send you Kevin Martin, who is on this team right now still, and it's not like that changes anything. He can go. But outside of that, and like, just send us lottery picks from here on out. You get a guy like Jimmer, pair him with can I change my pick?
Which one?
Can I
This
no
one
no
here?
no no yeah, this one right here.
Okay, that's fine.
Can I I thought about it because the James Harden trade is still gonna happen because Daryl Morey is going to do Daryl Morey things. I am gonna take Shumpert with this last pick.
Oh, so Shumpert's back in,
Yes.
which is great because based on what we've talked about, they've now done some really great tooling with the roster.
Mm-hmm.
They now have a 3-and-D next to their all offense guard.
Yeah.
And what's really great about this is at a time where Harden was playing some defense. Just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. He was playing a little. So they
He had
had
something. He had something to prove. I feel like Shumpert's trajectory as a number 2 is completely different. First of all, if he doesn't have Melo as the number 1 guard, but also because like even that season when it was Melo, Tyson Chandler, and Iman Shumpert, when Imari Stoudemire was in and out of the lineup, he played really good that first season, and I think that. I wanted to put Jimmer there because I feel like Daryl would have appreciated him as an analytics guy. He would have said, look, like he makes his buckets. He knows where to get these buckets. Let's get this guy. But you look at a guy like Iman Shumpert coming out of Georgia Tech. He was a 3-and-D guy, and he had some ball handling ability as well. He would essentially have been the Harden 1.0 as far as like, this is the test to see if we can have this type of player, like a player who can score, but also be a ball handler as well, but not a natural 1, more so a 2 or 3, and not really. But he's not really even a point forward. He's a 2. He's a combo guard, but a big combo guard, and eventually they would do that with James Harden. I think that having a guy like James Harden paired with Iman Shumpert would take the time to sit down and learn his jump shot. He would get a lot better. I don't think that the injury happened because the injury that happened in the 2013 playoffs that really messed him up. I mean, 2012 playoffs that really messed him up. I don't think that happens either. I like Shumpert here. Now, like in retrospect, I like Shumpert a lot paired up with James Harden in the future coming out of college.
I like that too. I think long term, seeing them adapt, and it would change a lot about what was going to happen to James in this run with the Rockets, because a lot of the offense changed around Mike D'Antoni coming in, realizing that James' natural ability to move around the court makes him a great target for fouls drawn.
Right.
And it would have been, if that was the approach they maybe go forward with, being able to complement Iman coming in transition and providing like awesome spacing as a defender and like, just some semi decent 3-point shooting would have been crazy, because
Right.
then you have the ability to really build like way more around that, and that would have been a deadly combination. Jumper would have broken out way harder.
I agree. Like I was really thinking on it. I was trying to make the decision. Was Shumpert an aberration based on what he did in New York? And some of it is also true, but then you also have basically a guy like James Harden coming in, and he'll provide that type of he'll provide the offense that Melo would, but he's not going to be like a selfish ball handler at the same time. Like Melo had that. I love Melo. Melo has that type of game that becomes a black hole. It becomes a black hole after a while because the offense is completely centered around him. Iman Shumpert at least will have that year before. Like he'll have to deal with Kyle Lowry and Kevin Martin, but at least he'll have that background of a team that moves the ball.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that early development for any rookie or any standout player that's focused on team basketball is when you're in weak systems, it completely erodes the rest of the foundation you've come up with, because it's hard to continue to learn team basketball and stay in that system when you have to increase the pace. So when you see bad teams or bad organizations not, and I'm not saying that Melo plays horrible basketball, but it's hard to play Melo centered or John Wall centered basketball in the NBA and win.
Agreed.
So when you have young guys doing that, it gets way worse really fast.
I agree. I agree. So that's our list. We've got Kawhi going first, Klay Thompson going second. We've got Kyrie going third, Kemba going fourth, Jimmy Butler going five, Nikola Vucevic going six to the Wizards, Isaiah Thomas going back to Sacramento, Tobias Harris going back to Detroit with the Vucevic jersey. Bismack Biyombo going back to the Bobcats. The Manimal Kenneth Furry going to the Bucks. The Warriors are getting Enes Kanter. Jonas Valanciunas is going to the Jazz. The Suns will take Nikola Mirotic, and the Rockets will take Iman Shumpert. Like I said, guys, like there's quite a few guys left on the board, at least from my perspective. Guys that I had originally taken as a pool. Derek Williams. Honestly, I feel like the Rockets would have taken a flyer on Derek Williams also, being available at 14, just to see what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Knight, who he kind of flamed out as an undersized guard. That was his primary issue, but then also he wasn't an undersized guard that was efficient in the sense that like Kyrie and Kemba were. He was a step or two below, and being that you're already undersized, Isaiah Thomas, same echelon. Like Brandon Knight he didn't have that extra gear that you needed in order to be elite, and it always seemed like bad things were happening to him, like the DeAndre Jordan dunk, which is, oh my gosh, still.
Yeah.
And then he got crossed by somebody. Oh, Kyrie. He got crossed by Kyrie at the rookie sophomore game.
Yeah, that happened the same. Oh yeah, that was it. That was it after that.
Yeah, like
you can't recover after it.
it's
It's like a month and a month apart.
no. I think that
Oh, those are like a couple years actually.
yeah, I think that the DeAndre Jordan dunk happened like the season afterwards.
After, yes, after.
But yeah, like that's not a good reputation to have. CJ, what's going on?
We were talking about this before the stream. A couple of guys that are still in the league,
Yes.
but would have never really made this list because of the nature of their career, even their role. Like Corey Joseph, a Spur, by nature, able to play basketball till he's 45. Who else? Marshawn Brooks has been in and out of the NBA. I think he was most recently in the NBA in 2019.
Yep.
So, that's something there. Etuan Moore.
Yeah. Etuan Moore has bounced around the league enough to where it's like he's definitely got a spot in the league as a big, but he knows exactly what he is. Davis Bertans, same thing. He's with the Wizards now, and he's been with the Wizards for a couple years now. Reggie Jackson almost got drafted. Reggie Jackson is actually on my draft board list.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the Morris brothers, Alec Burks, all 15 plus per game scorers. Tristan Thompson just got a check. He just got a check from Boston. Just got it last season. It was like, yeah, let's pay him some money. It was like
Tristan, the timing Tristan has is just truly next level. Just the ability to go from one situation to another.
So I actually saw a tweet that said Tristan Thompson is very certain that he can get Khloe Kardashian back, and we were like, and somebody tweeted I'm very certain too. He's a right place, right time type of guy for sure.
I bet you I could too. I know I can.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe it.
Like I believe in him. I believe in him too. Like he 100% could do that.
No, if he can do it, the whole team can do it.
You think Lamar Odom could get it back?
I know he can.
Post crack? Post crack.
Post
Post crack, you think he can get it back?
I don't know if he can do anything post crack.
I'm happy that Lamar Odom is doing better. Like that he finally I feel like post crack, I don't think that he wants Chloe.
No, definitely not. I'm sure she has like had the conversation with other people, like, well, what would it be like and this and that. I'm definitely sure he's thought about it, but then he's just like, no, I'm gonna be right back there in a minute.
Yeah, Bojan Bogdanovic still getting a check. Still getting. He just played for the Jazz. Like he just played playoff minutes.
He's great, and I think had he been not gonna play another 3 years in Europe, he would have ended up on our list. But unfortunately, he we didn't make any appearances the first 2 years. It's a whole rookie cycle.
Yeah, Marcus Morris, Marcus and Markieff Morris, Alec Burks. Again, more Marcus Morris, Alec Burks, more Knicks, Derek Williams, more Knicks, Jimmer Fredette, Knicks. Chandler Parsons, same thing.
We like the bag getters, and 2011 was full of that.
Oh, all right. So, side note, because we got to talk about this. Kyle Singler. Yes. That man. All right. So Kyle Singler was drafted in the second round out of Duke, from the second round, and he got signed by Detroit. He got his Detroit deal, his first deal. Second deal came around. Then he got to the Thunder, and then he signed a really nice contract by the Thunder. Let me actually pull up the numbers real quick.
I sent you the stretch info actually.
Right. One second.
The other numbers somewhere.
Yo, it's crazy. Yo, Kyle Singler's contract is actually crazy. Because
he got a great deal.
He's a real keep getting them checks type of guy. And all right, so he originally signed for 3 years.
No, 4 years, 17 million.
Sorry, yeah, 4 years, 17 million. And they waived him. They waived him after the 2018 season. And now but the way they did it, like Bonnie Bonilla, like Gilbert Arenas, like many players before, they decided to stretch out the contract. That man is gonna make $1 million next 3 years. Like from 2021, 2022, 2023. He has not played a game in the NBA since 2018.
They decided to stretch the last year of the contract for 5 years.
Keep getting them checks. Kyle Singler is beautiful. It's honestly beautiful, and I'm happy for him, and I wish him nothing but the best. Because he's out here, he's like I said, he's just chilling. Like he went to Europe and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna play a season," but then he was like, "I really don't want to play anymore," and retired, knowing that he had this bag still waiting from the NBA. He still had NBA money coming in and was gonna get that for the next 4 years. It's beautiful.
Yo, my favorite part of NBA math is it's really just like $1 million now. It's gonna be so much less in like 4 years, so we'll just pay him later.
We'll just pay him later. Don't even worry about it.
It'd be less trouble to just pay him 6 years from now than to pay him all at once. And everyone was like, "You're so right."
That's how Gilbert Arenas got paid 6 years after Gilbert Arenas got paid 10, 12. Like he was a top 12 pay. He was a top 12 paid player. Top 12
paid player.
Top 12 paid player. In the 2014 season, and he had not played a game in the NBA since 2012. Because they were like, we could pay him later. Don't even worry about it. Gilbert Arenas is the greatest keep getting them checks guy next to Bobby Bonilla, and it's not even close. It's Bobby Bonilla, Gilbert Arenas, everybody else.
Pretty much. Honest to God.
Uh,
Gilbert's dope.
yes. And with that being said, that's our draft. Appreciate Zach for coming in
Yeah.
to do the draft. Let us know if you like this draft. I'm gonna edit this up and repost this so I can get multiple remonetized money. It's called diversifying my bonds, B.
Yes. We want to keep up on the AdSense. We need that. We need that money. We need that alphabet money.
But let us know if you like this, because I can do more drafts. We can do more drafts together. If you like Zach, I like Zach. So regardless of whether or not you guys like him or not, like he comes up with enough basketball and basketball knowledge, and we have a good enough chemistry where we can bounce off each other. So regardless of whether or not you guys like him, he's coming back. If we do this again. But yeah, like make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell icon. Join the Penny Face Squad. Over on that side is all the social medias. And Sergio, shout out to you for following on Twitch. And Zach, that way. Let us know what your social medias are.
Oh, so I have a Twitter. It's Zachary Mahabir.
Money Mahabir.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's good. You know, I'm on there. Is basketball and what's it called? Wrestling, pro wrestling. I love that. And just remember, sub to the Mack Roberts with Prime. Sub with Prime.
Appreciate
Use your Prime.
that.
Sub with Prime.
Yo, give me my Prime subs, bro.
Get them as Prime subs.
And that's it. And then also on YouTube, because we out here really trying to get these YouTube coins. And everything else, I appreciate everybody who popped in, chatting with us. You guys up there. We had like the little chat box up there. It was a medium success. I don't really know. Like it kind of was like on and off, but we're gonna work on that. We're gonna bring that up to speed to make that a much more viable task. And outside of that, yeah, I appreciate everybody who popped in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Win forever.